All right, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like there has been another effort by some Hoyo affiliated individuals in sabotaging Wuthering Waves. It's kind of ironic, or really not really ironic at all. It's kind of predictable at this point that stuff like this is occurring because of the rather storied history that a lot of the most dedicated members of the Hoyoverse community have had when it comes to this game. If you all aren't familiar with some of the prior context, let me just provide it right now. We're all aware of some of the past situations that have occurred, right? Where groups like XJJ went ahead, did all sorts of crazy stuff like performing the mass censorship of, units like Cantarella and the boss version of Cartithia way back in version 2.2. You got the age rating of the game pushed up to 16 plus after citing all of that absolutely horrid forbidden content in the game. They also went ahead and, we also saw some context over here when it comes to their Isu and their non-Isu faction, where they have like prominent figures like their content creators, that sort of stuff that face the public, and then this Isu faction over here, which does like a lot of like the nasty work, the mass reporting, the doxing, and stuff like that behind the scenes. We all know that's occurred, and we also know for certain there was another situation where they're trying to do the same exact thing for version 2.4 and the release of Cartithia herself, where we covered this post over here on the WuWa Unfiltered subreddit, and we saw that there are people going ahead saying stuff like, we can start reporting now, and the comments below it providing more templates for the reporting. That mass reporting is what led to the whole 16 plus, the censorship situation for version 2.2 in the first place. And so now it's evolved. It's gone even further, and that's what we're going to be covering today. It has evolved to a point where now you have a Hoyo CC in CN on Billibilli with 583,000 followers, subscribers, whatever you want to call them, asking Billibilli publicly to limit or basically prevent this video of Cartithia's kit that was officially leaked by Kuro Games, preventing that video from getting more views. And boy, oh boy, is this quite the situation, because we have all of this information, we have all of this sort of proof that comes with the work that's being done behind the scenes to mass report the game, and now they're going ahead and they're just doing it publicly. The guys, ladies and gentlemen, is just completely off when it comes to the situation, and it's pretty nasty. It's pretty ridiculous, because one thing we have to be honest about over here, ladies and gentlemen, is the fact that Wuthering Waves is extremely popular right now, and a lot of Hoyo players are not very happy with that at all. And so what I wanted to do today was actually cover the whole situation, see what's going on, and provide some additional context, because boy oh boy, it actually goes a little bit deeper than you might think when it comes to why this individual with so many followers is doing all this shit in the first place. So with that, this is a follow-up, a translated follow-up to what the person said before. Does this guide attention to breasts? Why not limit the flow mark? That basically just means, doesn't this guide attention to a certain part of the body? Why aren't you going ahead and preventing this video from getting more views, limiting the amount of exposure that it gets? And this is the thing. A lot of people might be thinking it's a similar route to the whole XJJ situation. It might be that. It might be this whole sort of like secret Hoyo shield brigade that's going around doxing people behind the scenes and doing all of this malevolent stuff. But somebody provided some additional glue, some additional context to the situation. So let's go ahead and check it out. From what I have read and seen, Billibilli has started to limit and shadow ban new Hoyo contents from a few content creators recently without a good reason, even when the contents are not explicit. I'm not going to try to read that. The creator in these images, who had to re-edit and re-upload his videos due to Billibilli's unfair treatment, finally snapped and questioned the Billibilli platform as why Cartithia's demo can be allowed to be posted, suggesting double standards from the platform or companies bribing behind the scenes. Oh, of course, this makes a ton of sense. You can totally see that this is one of the most Hoyo-pilled, Hoyo-shilled comments we can possibly have about this entire situation. Because you want to know what, ladies and gentlemen? Why would it make any sense at all for Kuro Games, a company that is literally a fraction of the size of Hoyoverse, who makes a fraction of the amount of revenue that Hoyoverse makes, why would they be the ones bribing Billibilli, which, as far as I'm concerned, is probably partially owned by the government, when Hoyo is the one that makes way more money and actually has ties to the CCP? If anything, this just means that even with Hoyo heavily sponsoring Billibilli, the content being produced by Hoyoverse in their Hoyo games goes so far beyond what's publicly acceptable, and the end result is that that sort of stuff is getting censored. And so let's talk a little bit and see a little bit. WuWa is a parliament member of the CCP. Oh. Yeah, well, if Hoyoverse content is getting censored, it probably has to be pretty spicy, pretty bad. So let's get into explicitly the type of stuff that they're talking about over here. Alright, I read his Billibilli profile and other posts seemed to be because his other content, the recent Honkai Impact 3 character and ZZZ's Yizhuan, got flagged and traffic limited because of exposed skin or booba. So the complaint, why doesn't WuWa Cartithia Showcase get flagged as well, since it also shows exposed skin or special treatment because it is the official IGN account. On the second image, yes, he did say, I recommend y'all to report to see if it gets flagged. I don't know if he's saying this. I don't know if he's saying this because he's pissed about Billibilli double standards or anything else, really. So they're basically going ahead and they're suggesting that people mass report the game. Mass report an official video from IGN China. Do keep that in mind, IGN China. And this is just a, content creator with a lot of followers that's just making content on the game. And so let's talk a little bit about what sort of stuff is getting censored over on Billibilli and CN. I think there's a cinematic I can show from the latest ZZZ update. And what I want to focus on over here is naturally what Yizhuan is doing. And let's just watch this a little bit. Yeah, so this is just like her fight scene. Oh. Let's slow it down a little bit so that people know exactly what's going on. I'm totally only doing this for research purposes. All right. Make it full screen real fast. Yeah, so that's what I'm actually thinking, probably. Maybe there was something along those lines. You can clearly see the type of character this is. They're really pushing the limits when it comes to tasteful representation of the female anatomy. Let's be entirely honest here. If you're trying to compare this to a Cartithia Ultimate animation, let's get a couple of things straight. Cartithia doesn't do this. All you get is merely a close-up of her raising her sword, and the camera angle just happens to come from below. I'll provide the proof for that as well. Let's just take a look at this real fast, so we can just look at the ultimate animation. It's there for about... Let's see how long it's there. You get a natural sway of the body, and it's there for about half a second. It's there for about 10 frames, maybe 1 second, something like that. And this is the level of gratuitous stuff that you're comparing it to. I'm not saying, I don't even think that this should be censored, to be honest. I think that while this is obviously extremely gooner, I don't think that there's personally a problem with it. The fact you got censored sucks. But if you're trying to draw comparisons over here, just in general of how goonerific the stuff we're looking at is, let's be entirely honest, you're being quite disingenuous. Let's just play this one last time so we can see that comparison. That's a big difference. That is a big difference. And so we looked at the Yizhuan stuff that might have caused some feathers to be ruffled over in China. I'm wondering who the new HI3 character is. Oh, I see. Yeah, no, I see. All right, so we got Marissa Honkai over here showing us the... Oh. Oh, I see. I see. Let's see what her ultimate animation looks like. Yeah, I mean, we all know that China is a little bit more conservative than other regions. They do have, like, a lot of, like, those policies that would restrict stuff like this going on. I think this is safe compared to Yizhuan. I think that the way that I'd rank it is Yizhuan at the top, then you have this Helia, and then you have Cartithia at the bottom. And clearly, right, there's a massive focus, especially in this animation over here, And remember, right, we're doing this with the context that they're a bit more conservative over there. Like, that's her doing, like, her special bow shot. And then I think there's that follow-up attack over. I mean, that one, that one's pretty powerful too. That one is pretty powerful as well. Let's be entirely honest there. So we've already drawn the comparisons. We made sure to bring the glue. We took a look at everything when it comes to this conversation. And let's be entirely honest here. This movement, this sort of claim, this sort of comparison that's being made over here by this Hoyo CC is absolutely not equivalent at all. It's kind of ridiculous, to be honest. You get a single frame of Cartithia during her liberation animation that is gone in like half a second, going ahead, and then she immediately goes up to the sword, and then you see the laser beam, versus multiple shots of like gigantic milkers jiggling right in front of the viewer's face intentionally in like slow motion, to be honest, because there's a time slowdown in HI3 when they do those attacks, and there's literally a time slowdown in the Yi Zhuan clip, so you can like literally see like they're going in different directions too. I don't even know if that's like supposed to happen in real life, where like one goes up and then the other goes down. It's like, okay, right? Again, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I think if you like that, perfectly fine, no issue at all. Go pull the characters, go pull all three characters if you want. But the fact of the matter is that they're on entirely different levels at a baseline. And the fact that we're going ahead, we're using that as an excuse to start mass reporting is where the situation gets super stinky. Bro might just be a little bit butthurt that his video got traffic limited and he had to do some censorship of his own. But the fact that he's trying to apply it, and he literally requests that all of his followers go ahead and start mass reporting the video, mass reporting the official clips from IGN, that's where there's a bit of a problem. And so yeah, this comment is great as well. Can you guys just enjoy the game without comparing with other games? We would love to. I think the Wuthering Waves community would love to do that, but the fact of the matter is, when this game is under constant attack from pretty much every single angle, in pretty much every single region, for the most dog shit, ridiculous, stupid-ass reasons, and stupid-ass comparisons being made in the first place, yeah, it typically turns out that the WuWa community as a whole isn't really going to be happy with those sort of claims being made. And they have a tendency, right? When you get punched in the face, you have a tendency to want to punch back. And Hoyoverse players keep doing this sort of shit and expect no retaliation in return. And all they can think is, huh, wow, look at these guys feeling the need to defend their game. What a bunch of losers. They have nothing else to talk about on this platform. And it's just like, it is what it is, right? So, I think there's a follow-up to that post over here. Yeah, and that's only the Billibilli platform. Nothing suggests that they are trying to report Cartithia's in-game model, and her model is completely in line with 12+ rules. OP is clearly utilizing misleading info and people's hate for censorship to create drama, and people are just buying it without questioning. Yeah, we're just going ahead, we're just running defense here. Yeah, I'm glad that this post is mass downvoted. And we got a bunch of stuff in CN over here. I assume that's a lot of people thinking that it's absolutely crazy. Oh, there's even more. Tour face about Hoyo shill. It's already too late to change the plan. And then we show that literal clip that I was talking about over here. I don't know what this is supposed to mean. This is like a translation, but it still doesn't make any fucking sense. I need this translation to be translated. It shows the clip that we were just talking about over here with Yi Zhuan's gigantic assets. And then we got the follow-up over here by, again, that creator with all those followers, talking about how this should have the yellow, I mean, I assume that's like suggestive or like explicit tag coming over here for Cartithia. And again, we only show stills for a reason, because you would realize this frame is only on here for about a second max. So you can clearly see in every single avenue, in every single way, this is how it usually occurs in the gacha space nowadays. And it doesn't matter which region you're talking about. If people ever feel like there is a Hoyoverse game that's getting slighted in some way, rightfully or not, these individuals in the scene, be it content creators, be it players, be it the shills that are posting on all the public social media, be it XJJ doxing people behind the scenes, they always feel the need to loop Wuthering Waves into the conversation. They always feel some sort of need to go ahead and drag WuWa down in one way or another to their level and receive either the same level of punishment, the same level of penalty, just so that they can feel better about themselves because of a fucking gacha game. And this is the thing. That is pathetic behavior. And it's pathetic behavior when we're talking about it from under the Hoyoverse umbrella. Let me just look up something about Escoffier. There was one clip going around about Escoffier. Someone has the link to it, where they got like a side view of her model, and it shows that like she's literally wearing nothing. Like under her like apron, she has no bra and she's in lingerie. It's an in-game model too. It is literally an in-game model. And again, this is just for research purposes. Guys, this is what's in Genshin Impact. This is just what they released for their new character. We're literally going ahead. Genshin Impact has stuff like this. You can literally see, like, that's like the gap over here. This is their newest release character. And we're going ahead and we're talking about how WuWa has become a gooner game. How WuWa needs to be censored. How there needs to be all of these updates and changes made. And this is just what Genshin Impact released. This is a frame of her ultimate. This is a shot of her in-game. I mean, this one's pretty crazy still, but like, yeah, there's just, it's literally a naked apron. That's another shot. Again, it's all just in-game. And that's the top-down view from in-game. And this is what we're telling people is more tasteful than Wuthering Waves. This is the thing. It's incredibly easy to just point the finger right back. I don't think that there's a design in Wuthering Waves that gets even close to this. You might be able to say, oh, well, Shorekeeper's got like a thin sheer fabric across everything up here. This is absolutely ridiculous. And again, I'm not saying there's anything fundamentally wrong with this. I don't think that there's like a huge issue with what's going on over here. Cantarella's sides are way more covered up than whatever this is. Yeah, I'll be real with you. Cantarella's sides are actually way more covered up. Brother man, you can see the under part. You do realize there's a gap in here between the fabric and her skin? You can literally see like the under as well. And that's the close-up. So it's not just in the ultimate animation, guys. That's what it literally is in-game. And I'm telling you, I'm going to be honest. I don't know if that's a 12+ design. I'm not sure if that's a 12+ design. It's also as far as I'm concerned, a gravity-defying design as well. That's crazy. This is way worse than Fleur-de-Lis. But we're going ahead and knowing that all of this stuff is there, we're a Hoyo-affiliated CC, knowing that Escoffier actually already got released, we're complaining about one frame of the Liberation animation. And guess what? This one frame, she's actually, like, it's almost completely covered up. I would say, like, the only crazy thing about this is that she just happens to have gigantic milkers. They're just big. This isn't even, like, an incriminating angle of any kind. They're just massive. Like, what? Oh, you can see the inside part. Yeah, you could see that on, like, literal people walking down the street. That's not anything crazy. You ever seen a V-cut shirt before? Yeah, you'll get basically something very close to this. And then we're going ahead and we're freaking out when this is in Genshin Impact. Brother man, you see in, like, fan art or photos. This is, like, not something you, like, see anywhere that isn't, like, private. So, yeah. Let's be honest here, ladies and gentlemen. This is probably one of the biggest displays of absolute hypocrisy that I think we've ever witnessed in the space. For there to just be these consistent, ridiculous, absurd attacks against WuWa's gooner characters, when in the same vein, we're talking about this as like a CC. We're talking about this from a community that is quite literally doing worse in that respect, doing more things, pushing the envelope even more. And it's gotten to the point where it's absolutely fucking ridiculous, if we're frankly being honest. And this is my point of view on the entire situation. Don't feel the need to just start consistently attacking this game just because Hoyo got punched in the mouth by somebody else. It seems to be like that Wuthering Waves has become like this whipping boy for the Hoyo community, where anytime something bad or negative happens to them, they'll just absolve themselves of all blame and then try to get WuWa in the same boat and receive the same level of punishment. And at this point, it's just getting ridiculous. And so hopefully this overview, all this context that we provided over here, all of the glue, all the receipts, has painted a brighter and more informative picture on the entire situation. Let me know what you all think. Peace.